Go ahead and get that going. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. My name is Dr. Kitiana Lowe, and I'm the Director of Administration here at WEBEC ORV. We are excited to invite you all to our Pitch Pro Talks Winners and Judges Insights. I think this is going to be a really dynamic workshop today where you will have a chance to hear from our Catch the Wave 2023 winners, as well as hear from our judges. In hopes you are all planning to pitch at Catch the Wave 2024, but even if you don't, I think this will be a really great opportunity for you to kind of sit at the feet of those who have done this before. So before we jump in, I always like to introduce our team. We are a mighty team of 8. We are led by our fearless leader, Lanice Smith, who is our president and CEO. Colleen Rudisil is our director of certification and outreach, and Stephen Easley as our fractional chief marketing officer. And then in our certification department, we have Robbie Moore, who is our manager of certification, and Angela Ruff, who is our certification specialist. As well, in our marketing department, we have our manager of marketing, Catherine Macon, and then our corporate relations consultant is Byron Stallworth. So as a mighty team of 8, we work together diligently to provide all that's needed for certification and programming and corporate relations for our members of WEBEC ORV. So today I would actually like to introduce you to Lamonda Dye, who is going to be our moderator for the rest of our session today. Lamonda Dye is the founder and CEO of LCD Agency Services, which is located in Hamilton, Ohio. By trade, Lamonda has been a nurse for over 20 years. LCD is an agency that provides quality supportive services to providers and consumers in the home care sector. LCD opened in September of 2010 as a state-tested nurse aid program. Over the years, the business transitioned into an agency that has an array of services, including home care, non-medical transport, pre-employment, and consulting services. Lamonda is a validation coach for GCMI, a subject matter expert for the Urban League, a member of 3 councils on aging committees, and we're excited that this year she is one of our chairs, is our chair for our Woman of Color Committee. So without further ado, Lamonda, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you. Really do appreciate that. So I believe our first winner from last year is Tina Shimon. She is the owner of, I hope I don't pronounce this wrong, Terranian Herbs and Spices. And again, she was one of our WEBEC Pitch finalists in 2023. I'll turn it over to you, Tina.
Thank you. So my name is Tina Shimon, and my business is Terranian Herbs and Spices. You pronounced it perfectly, by the way. Yay. And what I do is I make consumer packaged goods for retail grocery stores, specifically for Middle Eastern, Mediterranean, Lebanese flavors. I have za'atar pita chips, I have spreads, and I have seasonings. Thank you.
Awesome. Next, I believe we have Christine Seck. I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Having trouble here seeing your information. So I will just turn it over to you, Christine. I'm sure you'll do a better job.
No, thank you so much. You pronounced it correctly. Yes. So I'm Christine Seck. I'm part of the brand evaluator with Michelle Thompson, a fellow Weebie. We help B2C and B2B small businesses, and we help them make an unforgettable first impression by identifying and clearly conveying your unique value. And so we do that through differentiated brand strategy and custom brand design. And the intent is that you can create an impact not only for your business, but also within your community.
Awesome. And last and certainly not least, we have the Barb Smith, president of Journey Still, and of course, WEBEC Pitch Mission winner of 2023. Turning it over to you, Barb.
Thank you, Lamonda. And yeah, hats off because I have the simplest name. You didn't have to worry about pronouncing my first, last, or the company. So I'm Barb Smith, president of Journey Steel. Journey Steel is a self-performing steel fabrication, erection, and UAS company headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio. We'll be celebrating 15 years in August. And at our core, we do structural and miscellaneous steel beams, columns, joists, deck, ladders, stairs, railings, and drone technology for construction, maintenance and inventory, marketing, and special projects. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you, Barb. So those were our winners. Are we going to go ahead and play the videos?
Yes, so just to tee you all up. So what we actually have is the opportunity for you all to hear, or excuse me, to watch each one of our winners who submitted for in their pitch submission last year. So to explain a little bit of the process, we do a call for pitch. We'll talk about that towards the end. And so in order to do that call for pitch, you submit a 1-minute video. So we have the opportunity for you to watch how they started. And then our winners will come on after the video and they'll kind of share their thoughts. I'm sure they probably have not seen these since they recorded them and submitted them almost a year ago. So they'll get to see exactly how they did. They'll share about their thoughts based on what they did and kind of how they progressed from there. So the first one, let me share my screen and share my sound. And our first one is Tina Shimon.
My name is Tina Shimon. I am the owner and founder of Training Herbs and Spices. I launched my business in 2020 when I realized there was a void in the American marketplace for authentic za'atar like what I grew up enjoying. Za'atar is an herb that is native to the Levantine region. It's incredibly healthy and versatile. I believe it deserves a place on all shelves in all marketplaces and grocery stores throughout America, and I'm very passionate about getting it there. Za'atar is not only an opportunity for me to shed a positive light on our Lebanese culture, it is also an opportunity to bring business to Lebanon where za'atar is native. It's an opportunity to help the farmers and harvesters there at a time when there's incredible economic unrest and not a lot of money coming into the country, especially American dollar. At the same time, it's an opportunity for me to create business for the women I work with here in Cleveland, Ohio, my all-woman team. I work with majority of immigrants that are from the region. This business allows me to create something that they're familiar with. They're familiar with za'atar in an unfamiliar setting when they first come here.
So Tina, what do you think?
Oh boy. And just so you know, I practiced that I probably 60 plays of that to get it right. But I think that as I progressed throughout the competition, I was able to watch other people do their pitches and pick up on what they did and what I didn't do. Like, for example, something I would have preferred that I added later on was I added a catchy line in the beginning, something to catch the listener's attention. And then, of course, there's the tone of your voice. The way I say it on a camera and a video is different than how I presented it on stage. There's more movement, more animation, but I'm sorry, I haven't seen that in a year. I've definitely improved on that, and hopefully we'll share some great tips on how you can make sure what you submit is perfect for what you actually present.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Next is Christine. Are you ready, Christine?
I'm Christine Seck, co-founder of the Brand Evaluator. There's one fact that keeps me up at night. If 75% of brands disappeared, people would not care. We want to believe our customers are loyal, but there's obviously an undercurrent of dissatisfaction. As a branding expert with over 20 years experience, I see the opportunity businesses leave on the table when they don't create a customer-centric brand impression. How can your brand be in the top 25%? It takes going beyond offering features and benefits to becoming invaluable. The Brand Evaluator helps businesses realize their true value to build meaningful connections. In 30 days, our proprietary Brand Evaluator assessment evaluates your brand impression relative to competitors based on our 5 key metrics of effective branding. Our scorecard captures your key strengths and opportunity areas to create longer lasting value. Find out where your true value lies with the Brand Evaluator.
Christine, what are your thoughts?
Gosh, one, my hair is super short there.
What a difference a year makes.
No, yeah, yikes. So maybe revisit that hairstyle. No, I think in doing it, there's, I definitely practiced, like Tina said, a number of times, but how do you make it more natural, right? And I think I was worried about the time constraint, 30 seconds, 60 seconds goes super fast. And so how do you convey that message in a way that's authentic, comes across a bit more conversational? Yeah, but we, Michelle and I worked the script together. You trying to pull in the nuggets based upon what Regina Russo had shared in her training last year, which is so helpful. What is that true pain point people are having? How can you establish your credibility early and then often through the story, and how you're providing that solution that really solves it better than anybody else? So that was a little bit of the framework we were using, but love to share some additional tips after we watch Barb's video.
Awesome. Yes. And perfect segue. Let me get my screen sharing and let other people in here. Here we go with Barb.
Recently, we added everyday words like pandemic, pivot, shift, recession, inflation, supply chain, UAS, DEI, AI. Oh my! Hi, my name is Barb Smith, and I'm president of Journey Steel. And adding Journey to that new list of words will answer many concerns around change that you are facing. Founded in 2009, Journey is a structural and miscellaneous steel fabrication and erection and UAS company. At our core, we provide columns, beams, stairs, railings, and drone technology for construction, maintenance and inventory, marketing, and special projects. Committed to on-time, safety-driven, top-quality products. Coupled with our vision to change the world one young person at a time, we pivoted, shifted, got creative with rising prices and supply issues, added a new futuristic service offering, strengthened our Give Back program that targets inner city youth. So in short, we understand change is now, and by teaming with us on your next project, you will have the right partner to help you soar into the future. Let's talk.
Barb, what are your thoughts?
That the camera adds 25 pounds, not 10. Yeah, that was the first time I actually got to see that. And just like Tina and Christine have shared, trying to make steel interesting, catching the audience and when I'm practicing and different things like that. So I know we'll be talking in the panel, so I'll just hush now, but I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I need to close the jacket, lose a few pounds before the next pitch.
Oh my goodness. And didn't you just say you're getting ready to pitch again next month? So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Ramada, I'm going to turn it back over to you to facilitate our panel.
Absolutely. So first on our judge panel, we have Jilson Daniels. We also
before we move over to the judges, let's actually do some panel. How about we have some questions for our winners?
Let's do that. Alrighty, so first question I have for you winners are, what framework did you use to develop your pitch?
I can jump in because I know Tina and Christine have already sort of said it. The framework when developing any pitch is the criteria. Who are you pitching to? Who's your audience? What are they looking for? So that really establishes the frame of whatever pitch, competition or presentation that dictates. The framework is dictated by what they're looking for and what the criteria is for me.
Yeah, I agree, Barb. I think too, what's your hook and how do you frame up what you do in a way that is truly solving their problem and making sure that problem is front and center is important. You can offer what we like to call a painkiller, that solution that truly is meaningful. It provides that benefit that will incite habit change, because you're asking people to change their behavior from buying something else to working with you. Or you could offer them a vitamin, which is a feature, could be a functionality, which is great to have as well, but might be easily compared to your competitors out there in the marketplace. So really thinking through how you can frame up what you do in a way that is unique and very much solves what they need.
And then I'll just jump in quickly. Barb and Christine both mentioned this already, but I also want to focus on when you're explaining what you're doing. Like for me, for example, I do Zaplat products, and a lot of people don't know what that is. So being able to articulate what it is, what your product is and what you're doing in a way that all the listeners can understand.
Awesome. Thank you for that feedback. So next question, once the content is perfected, what are your best practices for pitch delivery? Do you use visual aids, expression, audience engagement, all of the above?
So if you guys don't mind, I think I mentioned this before, after I watched what I submitted versus what I actually did in person, a lot more hand motion. I talk with my hands. You have to keep the listener engaged. And what I also did was I carried my product. So I have a food product. So I made sure I had it up there on stage with me, and each hand had something in it. That way you can, the listeners are able to see what I'm doing and also hear at the same time.
Yeah, we're a service business. So in talking about our assessment, we can story tell to a certain degree, but we felt it was really important to have a visual aid. So for those who were at Catch the Wave, I actually had our assessment scorecard on stage with me and revealed it at a certain point in time when I was talking about that particular offer. And it was awesome to be able to showcase what exactly the client, the audience, was going to receive from us.
And for me, which also be in a service business, and I couldn't bring a piece of steel up on the stage, it was important to make sure that I was able to tell the story, to convey the message, to say, I am Journey Steel. This is what we're about, to bring the visual aspect in without the visual aids. You know, it is hard sometimes to compete when you're not a product based business, when you're doing a pitch, because like Tina saying, hey, she can have a product in any hand and you can see it. And so you're going to remember that product. So one of the other strategies I always try to do too is, okay, you know, we're different. What's about us? We're steel, and making that lasting impression there. And I typically wear bright colors or something, you know, because I don't have a product. I mean, and that's all part of the presentation. I need them to remember something about Journey Steel, since I don't have the steel up there.
Awesome. Next question. How can a WBE prepare herself and her team for the pitch competition, both mentally and strategically?
I can jump in. Christine, were you going to jump in? I'll jump in.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to jump in and say, basically, one of the strategies that I always use is, you know your business. Your team knows your business. You go with the confidence, and that's the strategy. You're pitching your business. You're passionate about it. You're confident that you're able to do what it is that you're selling or producing or performing. And so that's your strategic advantage. Don't make it that it's something that this is abstract. It is you. And you need to convey that confidence, and that strategy is, you're talking, you want to win contracts. We're all in business to win contracts, or whatever our main passion is, but basically is win contracts and be successful. And so how are you going to do that? You need to be able to convey that message to say, this is why you want to do business with us. This is who we are, and you know who you are. So my strategy is always just be confident and tell your story. Why did you start your business? That's what you're conveying. And when you're talking about something you're passionate about, it flows easier, and you forget the fact that, hey, it's a competition. You're selling your business. You're selling your product or your service.
Yeah, great builds. I would say know that everybody wants you to succeed. This is a warm, welcoming environment that you'll be pitching in, and we're all here to support you. And so that always helps me to know that I'm walking into a friendly situation. I think it's also good when you're practicing with your team. Practice in front of your team. I practice in front of the mirror. I said it to Michelle, but also think through questions and answers the judges could ask you about, because that actually helped me revise my story too. Like, ooh, that would be good to say in the pitch rather than address in the Q&A part. So definitely consider that too.
Tina, did you want to add anything?
So, sorry. So what I was going to add was, again, Barb talked about making sure you're confident, you know your business. But for me, what helped me gain confidence in the actual pitch aspect, because I've never pitched before, was to actually film myself pitching. Like I did it multiple times until I was happy with the results that I was seeing, and I was able to execute whatever I saw on video.
Next question. Can you share any specific challenges you faced during the pitch competition, and how did you overcome them?
I'll jump in. The biggest challenge for me was basically staying focused. You know, as Christine mentioned, you like to hear everybody else's pitch. And when it's down to this is the competition, you don't have time to change. And so you have to make sure that you're staying focused on what it is that you're delivering. And as Tina said, you've practiced, you practice, you practice, you're happy with it. And so you can't look to the left or the right. You know, you can't see someone go before you or hear someone go before you and then say, oh crap, I should have said that. I'm sorry. Am I allowed to say crap? Maybe I am. Sorry. You shouldn't say, you know, it's like, oh, you know, oh man, I should add this or that was cute or that. Stay focused. That's the biggest challenge when you're in a pitch competition and you're not the first one. For me, you know, you have a tendency to think, oh yeah, I can add that in or I can take that away or maybe I should do this or maybe I should do that. So that would be the biggest challenge for me is staying focused, making sure you're ready before you get there and go with what you know and what you've been practicing.
I would say,
Okay.
as a service business, you can offer a number of different solutions to people, right? And telling people about your full suite of offering is good. But I think for us, we wanted to highlight a certain tool because that made our story much more clear. And that tool led into the other offerings as well, which we touched on briefly. So I think if you're struggling, like, what could I talk about? You absolutely can talk about your full breadth of what you bring to the table. Just make sure that story's clear so the audience can track with you and how those do solve your target audience's needs too, who you're selling to. Or think about maybe highlighting one tool. And that's just the option we went with because we felt like it would be a challenge to talk about everything clearly.
I guess the challenge, the more general challenge going off of that, like there's so much you want to talk about in that limited time. And so just knowing that whatever you're saying fits the criteria that Barb mentioned, you're hitting the criteria of the judges, you're hitting that priority that Christine mentioned, and then you're doing it within the time frame. And I noticed at the very end of when I was pitching that there was a clock on the floor and it literally went down to a second as I said, thank you. And I would have gone over had I not, you know, said the thank you in time, but just a challenge of keeping everything within the time limit.
All right, Dr. K, how are we doing on time? Because I have more questions.
We've got time for about one more.
All righty, well, let's do this one. What advice would you give other WBEs preparing for similar pitch competitions?
I think we've been hitting on all that, wrapping it up, basically. Make sure you're aware of the criteria, that you're hitting all the points that the judges are going to be evaluating you on. Practice, 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 and practice. And just build your confidence. Know your weaknesses, know your strengths, build on that. And like to Christine's point, if you have multiple service offerings or multiple products or whatever, tone it down. You know, you can't get everything in there. So you want to be able, because again, for me, when you're in a pitch competition, the purpose of the pitch competition, other than winning the money at that particular point, is to win contracts. And you want them wanting more. So if you're, even if you don't win, if you're able to get up there and clearly promote your business, pitch your business to the point that you want someone wanting more, that's when you're able to say, let's talk offline, let's do this. So that would be one of the things, like recognize the fact that even if you don't win the money or whatever the first prize is, you're already a winner because you're up on stage and you don't know who's in the audience. And so taking that into advisement as far as being able to pitch and leave them with enough that they're interested, but they need to talk to you later to find out the nitty-gritty of the stuff you didn't get a chance to say.
And just going off of what Barb said, that was a great point to make, because when I went in initially, you know, oh, I want to win first place, prize, etc. But then you forget that you're pitching in front of all these businesses that you could potentially work with. So at Nationals, I pitched in front of Target and I didn't know that they were watching until later on when I met with them because of the actual pitch opportunity. So just knowing that there's more to just winning first place, you're out there to present yourself and get in front of more businesses. I also want to mention, I know Christine mentioned this earlier, but preparing for what the judges might ask you afterwards. Try to anticipate questions. If you have a product like me, for example, judges were asking me about, sales and target market and, where the product would sell and how it would sell, et cetera. So definitely try anticipating questions that might be asked afterwards.
I think well said. I would just add, get started. Just start to put down your pitch, or if you have an existing pitch, evaluate it through that criteria, and maybe just start with an easy equation, right? So what's the pain point I'm trying to solve? How do I do that better than anybody else? And then how do I paint the picture of success beyond their expectations? And then you've got a story already. So just take that first leap. I'd encourage you to do so.
Well, thank you guys so much. I think that you guys gave some very good answers and some good points on how to perfect a pitch for sure. So I think now we will move on to the judges. So first, I believe we have Jilson Daniels, VP of Economic Equity and the Port of Cincinnati Development Authority. Turning it over to you, Jilson.
Yeah, so I guess you just want me to give some of my thoughts about the pitches, right? Or
You can just tell us a little bit about yourself if I haven't already summed it up.
oh, sure. As LaMonda said, I'm Jilson Daniels. I've been working with WeBec ORV in various capacities, probably going on 10 years now. Have been a business coach. I have facilitated the WeBec BDP program, or the BDP program, for many years as the facilitator and also just as a subject matter expert. I've also facilitated the African American Business Development Program for the Urban League. And so pitching is one of the things that we stress quite a bit. From my standpoint, here at the port, whenever we're looking to onboard a contractor to do a project for us or a developer, the pitch is very important. It obviously sets the tone as far as our first impression as to whether or not the individual that's looking to do a project with us is capable, to be honest with you. And the better the pitch, the better it is for us to make a decision as to whether or not to use that contractor. And so I think seeing the three ladies that pitched for us today, gave us their examples of their feedback, terrific, and obviously it catched the wave. Everyone that was up there was really hard as a judge to be able to select a winner. But you all did all the right things that you have to do to pitch correctly. And, it's all about, everyone hit on, I think, the points that are important to me, and I think to others who are in the procurement space. Keep it conversational and relatable. One of the things I always teach, or at least try to facilitate the understanding as a business coach to business owners who are pitching their product, either as a startup or an existing business owner, is get the individual to like you. I always use the example of social media. And what's the thing that we're all trying to do when we're posting on social media is we're trying to get our audience to like what we post and to like us. And so whatever you can include in your pitch to make you a likable person and your business to come across as likable will gain you so many points towards getting across the line and establishing a relationship with the individual as well as the organization that you're trying to do business with. I think that is the single most intangible part of the pitch. I mean, everyone's going to assume that you're the subject matter expert and what you're selling, either a product or service, like you have figured that out. But the most difficult part is getting them to hit the like button over and over again.
Thank you, Jilson. I think you might have answered my questions before I even got to them. Thank you. That was awesome. Next, we have Yolanda Ortiz Parker, Director, Indirector, Sourcing, Supplier Diversity, and ESG with STERIS. Turning it over to you, Yolanda.
Thank you, Lamont. Thanks for having me here with all these great ladies and Jilson, and I see Matthew. And if there are any other gentlemen who are supporting these ladies on the call, great to have you. Great to be with you. I've been with STERIS for about 4 years, but I've been involved with WeBank ORV for many years through my previous employer, Macy's East, Macy's Inc. I went through, you can tell, I went through all the Macy's transformations, East, West, Midwest, Mid-Atlantic, and but with Macy's, and it's always been an organization that's close to my heart. But I'm inspired by being around all you lady business owners. One of my mentees here at STERIS says I brought her to the conference last year, and she said, I love being around lady bosses, and and I think it's very important. I won't answer your questions, although Jilson gave me some ideas already on how to answer some of these, and there's some great things. But I can say a lot of stuff, so I'll stick to you asking me a question before I fill up the rest of the time.
Awesome. I'll do the last introduction of the judges.
Before you do that, Lamanda, I think we're just going to stick with the two here. We had an emergency situation, so we just have our two judges that are here.
Okay.
And you can go ahead and roll forward with the panel discussion.
Got it. Alrighty. So first question, what makes a pitch memorable, impactful, and persuasive for the judges?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll start, Yolanda, if you don't mind. I'll just say, again, emphasizing that make whoever you're pitching to like you.
Yeah.
And I know in like the pitch contest that you guys did for Catch the Wave, there was so little time. But what I always stress is focus on 3 things when you're pitching: who you are, what you do and how you do it, and what do you need. And don't be shy about asking for a contract, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to hear a commercial. And actually, at least, I mean, commercials are good to some extent. But at the end of the day, I want to know what it is that you're looking for. And I want to also know about you.
Yeah.
Okay. And in that short amount of time, if you can figure out something that's going to make me remember, I need to call Tina again. I need to call Christine. And I don't know about Barb. But make me want to remember who you are. And that works for me in real estate development because with contractors in particular, if there's a developer that's coming to us as a public finance agency and asking for a recommendation for a contractor, I'm going to remember the contractor that has managed to figure out a way to make me like them and know something about them as an individual, because I know that they're capable of doing the work already.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, I'm reminded of a time in my career when in supplier diversity, a lot of times professionals like myself and Jilson, well, I know Jilson is everybody's boss, but I'm not everybody's boss, right? So I'd have a meeting with people who outranked me, and I remember having a mentor who is spending time with a mentor of mine who said, that can be daunting, but there's nobody on that call who knows more about supplier diversity than you do, Yolanda. So you're the subject matter expert, and that should give you the confidence you need to address these guys and gals, because however high up they are in the organization, they're talking to you for that, to get that from you. And so when you pitch, because I was just talking to one of my reports, a gentleman who reports to me the other day, and I said, I put him on the spot at meetings when we're meeting new stakeholders. I was like, Paul, can you give us in 2 minutes, let us know how, what you're doing, what you're working on for the organization, right? So when you pitch, if you come across as authentic, your authentic self, propose what you do, what you're an expert at. And it's kind of a mix of a commercial, but not really. It's a getting to know you. And I do agree with Jilson on the personal, make it personal, make it authentic, cater it to the folks who are in the room with you, and not only offer that solution, but ask. Something that I've learned here at STERIS is that, STERIS is a manufacturer, and it's got very smart engineers and quality people and everything. When I do a training, they're all waiting for an ask, and I couldn't get used to that. I thought I was just building awareness and training, and I'm like, okay. And the ask is that you will come to a matchmaker at the main building, at this time or the other, or that you will entertain working with a supplier from an engineering perspective to see if there are any opportunities. But yeah, be comfortable with who you are. As folks say, be comfortable in your own skin, right? Be comfortable in who you are and the expert that you are when it comes to your own business. And tell us about it, because it may be that when you do your ask, it might not be something that I can fill. But boy, we've got a large network, don't we, Jilson? We've got a large network of supplier diversity, workers, and it's the more we get to know you, the more authentic you are with in places where we are. We will talk you up. I promise you that.
That's right. Yeah. That's what you want, is to have the people in the corporations talking about you in their individual networks, because that is going to get you repeated business without you having
very
to do that,
impactful.
right? And then if you happen to make some really good chips, that helps as well.
Yeah.
Right, team? I'm still munching on that bag from Castellet, by the way.
Jilson, I don't know what you had for lunch, but I want some of that today. You're on a roll.
Well, thank you both. Next question. What common mistakes do entrepreneurs often make during their pitches, and how can these be avoided?
Yolanda, I'll let you first.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Well, if you turn what we just said in reverse, backwards, that's it, right? You do need to practice a lot, right? So the pitches that aren't as polished, come through, because, I'll tell you all a secret, and don't use it against me because I don't do it anymore. I'm a trained opera singer, and when I used to, so don't ask me, Dr. K, don't ask me to sing at an event because I won't do it. But when I used to sing, I would practice like crazy, right? And I would practice without singing so that I would know my material. I would practice the movements. I would practice everything. My fear was that, when you're nervous, but I've experienced this a lot, right, as a performer, and also, we're performing here, but when you're nervous, the nerves, if you haven't prepared enough, it'll take over. The nerves will take over. But if you prepared enough, and Barb, you talked about it earlier, if you keep practicing and practicing in front of people, in front of the mirror, in front of each other, it's almost subconscious, right? It takes over. It's that muscle memory. So a lot of times, that's a very common mistake and that I see in pitches, is the preparation is not there, either with practicing the pitch. Another one is not knowing your audience. I don't, if we're in a group with health industry, I don't, I'll like your pitch because I love hearing ladies pitch their business. But if it doesn't apply to my industry and to what I'm doing, it might not resonate as much. So know your audience and treat the pitch like it's back to being authentic, right? Sometimes people are pretending, sort of pretending that they are somebody, that they're acting, right? And it's not. It's your business. You are who makes it what you are, and just deliver that pitch exactly as it is.
Yeah, great point, Yolanda. And I'll just add to that, because I think you said everything that I could say, is keep it, the conversational piece is really important. If I feel like you're reading a script, you could read it very well, but
Yeah.
it doesn't make me feel like you're connecting with me that way. And I think if I feel like you are having a conversation with me, even if I'm in a big group, I'm going to connect with you, and I'm going to remember you, and I'm going to want to come up to you and follow up with you. Because at some point you might be in a room one-on-one with me where you're trying to sell your product or service. And certainly in that situation, you're not going to be reading from a script or rehearsing. I'd rather you not sound like a commercial, but I sound like that you want to actually create a relationship with me that's sustainable.
Yeah. And another thing, if could I add, Lamonda, just
Sure.
the preparation part is beyond your appearance, your words. I want to highlight Barb Smith, what she did. She keeps telling us she couldn't bring up a piece of steel. But did you see her outfit? It was a steel color. Did you see her wall? And so it's like Procter and Gamble marketing trained you, Barb. It's like you have, everything is screaming steel, even though you don't have a piece of steel there with you. Think about things like that too, right? What you wear, if you're doing a video, the environment you're doing it, if the environment in the background helps your cause, fits into who you are and can add to that, that is also excellent. So I know the question was, what's a mistake or what's an error that is done sometimes that's not taking advantage of that opportunity.
That's a great point, Yolanda.
That is.
Notice that when in Barb's video in the background where she had that steel plate on the wall that said Journey
Yeah.
Steel. But I'll tell you another, one of the winners that I noticed has a great background presence is Christine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so clean. And I can't tell if that's a real wall or if that's like a virtual wall, but that's a really good background you have. And those types of little attentions to detail, I think goes a long way.
Yeah. Let it work for you.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Jilson. Thank you, Yolanda. Dr. K, do we have time for another question?
I want to say yes, but I also just want to gaze the room and see if those who are attending have any questions. I want to make sure we have a chance to get those questions out. So if you have a question, I already saw Pauline, of course, first one I saw with her finger with her hand up. I was gonna say you can either raise your hand or you can put it in the chat. So we'll go to Pauline first.
Hey, I guess it's good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Pauline. So my question is, what's the criteria for this year's pitch?
So give me 1 second to see if WeBank has pulled that up. Give me 1 second. I'm not ready for that answer.
Oh,
Hold on
okay.
a second.
Oh, just
We'll go to the
wait.
next question and then I'll come back to me.
Okay.
I have a question. Hi, it's Lucretia Williams, President and CEO of Distinct Event Planning. This has been so good. Like, I love when we have these authentic conversations and really hear from the people who've gone through the process. But my question is, you all have done an amazing job with pitching. Have you won any contracts, or what have been follow-up since you winning these pitches? Have you gained any business since winning? And what does that look like?
Want me to just jump in or? Okay. So contracts, not quite yet. but invitations to pitch further, like I said, to go in and pitch further. I was fortunate enough to get one of the monetary prizes in Philadelphia, so that helped. But it's opened up doors where I was flooded with, okay, we want to know more, we want to hear more, we want to do more. And so I feel like those contracts are coming. It's open, again, it opened the doors, but we just pitched in Philadelphia in November. Stuff takes time, you know. I will continue to pitch because, again, why are you pitching? You're pitching for the contracts, for the success. And there have been so many doors opened where I'm getting into businesses and organizations that may not have been on my radar, but I'm getting opportunity to do that 15-minute presentation and that 30-minute meeting that is leading. And I've had multiple meetings where it's taken it from level to level to level. So I can't say that someone handed me a contract right after pitching, but I will say that it definitely, I believe that the momentum, which was actually the thing last year, that it created the momentum that we needed to turn it into contracts.
And I can add on to that as well. As I mentioned earlier, I went to nationals with Barb, and I didn't know that Target was in the audience. And because of my pitch, they approached me afterwards, and they were interested in me, and they were interested in what I had to say, what I was talking about. And now I've been talking to them for the past few months. I don't have a buyer meeting yet. I don't have a final contract yet, but I'm in with Target. I have 5 or 6 contacts there now that I've been working with, and I'm building that relationship. And it's all because of this pitch opportunity. I also want to add another benefit, of course, it's of course the prize money. The benefit is, of course, the exposure to these other businesses. But also a big benefit is the judges, because afterwards they provided us with feedback and they let us know how we did on our pitches. And it was all, I'm sure they're going to do it this year, but it was written out and we got to take that back with us and continue to improve on our pitches.
Yeah, I would say that's been fantastic for us as well, as both from Catch the Wave judges as well as the semifinals. We've received that feedback to continue to hone our pitch, to continue to hone our marketing materials, which has led to conversations with fellow Weebies. And we did do a project with a fellow Weebie, which has been great.
Perfect. Thank you all for that. I did put the link, WeBank's link, in the chat. And so that has the general information that's been released thus far for the WeBank pitch competition. And as far as our RPOs competition that happens at Catch the Wave, we take exactly what WeBank is requiring in their first round. That's the part that you'll be looking at. The first round is what actually happens at Catch the Wave. So I did put that in the chat. I did see a question from Hillary in the chat. What impact on your business has the pitch competition or pitch contest has? I think you all kind of just answered that, unless you think that there's anything else. Okay. All right, perfect. Hillary's giving a thumbs up. Who else has any questions, or are there any other questions? Oh, Barb, go ahead. You're on mute though.
Hush, Jilson. I have a question for the judges, actually. And I did just click the link. So thank you, Dr. K, to see, because again, service versus product. So when you're a judge and you have a criteria, how hard is it for you to judge product versus service when you're seeing someone with a product that's in their hand that you could either buy and just say your organization, it fits with your organization? How hard is it for the judges to remain, quote unquote, true to the criteria and judge the pitch that way versus this product is awesome and I want to make sure that, I'm voting for that?
We're judges, Barb. We're impartial. Well, see, we would, and sorry, Jilson, I jumped in ahead of you, but we do our best to remain impartial, right? But to stick to the rules, to the parameters that we're given as judges. Now, if it's a product or a service that will fit STERIS, I will talk to you about that earlier, but that won't impact my feelings about judging the pitch competition.
Yeah, and I'll say the same with me. As certainly, I'll be more interested if it's related to real estate development, which is the space I'm in. But I will stay focused on the things that I'm looking for, the criteria for a great pitch. And And my own individual preferences too on what makes a great pitch, which is what I've already said, the conversational piece, that you're relating to me, that you're making it personable, in addition to the what you do and how you do it part.
And the reason I asked that, and just for the other service industries in here, that has been some of the feedback, with pitch competitions, that normally is the product offerings that always move forward.
Can I jump in really fast on that? So Dr. K and I and LaWanda are on the pitch committee for the WeBank ORV coming up. So we did some research for WeBank on this, and this year for the national finals, actually they're going to have 2 prizes: one first place under services and one first place under products.
That's great. Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
Having a
I
good
see
bag of
another.
chips helps, too.
Say that again.
Having a good bag of chips helps.
Tina, send Jilson some more chips.
They are very tasty. So yes.
Oh, send Yolanda some too.
You're not
For everybody
you're
else,
not-
drop the link. You can get them on Amazon. No, I'm just
You're
kidding.
not. Not if it's considered a bribe. It's not considered a bribe. It's not.
There's another question in the chat. Chiquita says, I'm in the educational consulting services industry. Are there investors who find value in educational services or consulting? Yolanda or Jilson, or even to our winners, anybody have anything that you can answer to that question?
I think if an investor has or sees a market opportunity in that space, certainly I think there might be some interest. Investors are looking for fast returns and high returns. And so if it's something innovative and useful and fits their investment strategy, then yes, I think there is a case there.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other final questions?
I actually have a question of my own, Dr. K.
Sure, go ahead.
To the winners, how did you know that you were ready to pitch or go through the pitch competition?
If I can jump in, I'm not going to say that I knew I was ready. This is one comment I wanted to make before we got off. Everybody should pitch, period. Because again, we're all in business to win contracts, sell our products, services, what have you. So, and as Christine said earlier, this is a safe environment. This sisterhood that we have, we're here to encourage each other, lift each other up, and we need to know each other's businesses so we can advocate for each other's businesses. So my answer to your question is, it's not that, do you know that you're ready? Get yourself ready. You don't know if you're ready until you pitch, and then get the feedback and get out there. So I truly believe everyone should enter the pitch competition. If nothing else, like again, we're saying, you don't know who's in the audience. You don't know who's going to see your entry video, or if you're pitching live on the stage at Catch the Wave or what have you. We're in business to be successful, and you have to be able to sell your business. So it wasn't so much, I felt I was ready. I feel like I need to, I have to, I have to sell my business. And as I think Jilson said, making it a conversation, whether he's the only one in the room. I want to use him. If Yolanda's the only one in the room and I need to have a conversation with her, that's still my pitch, so you have to be ready. You have to be able to have those conversations. So don't wait till you're ready, because what does ready look like? It's different for everyone. That's my.
Yeah, so good. Tina or Christine, have any response?
So that's great, because as you all watched my kitchen first pitch video in a t-shirt, I was obviously not fully ready. I mean, it's my first time doing a pitch, but I still did it. And this whole competition, all the routes we took on it, that's what got me ready. That's what got me to my final pitch with nationals. And that's the same pitch I now use with all my corporate buyers whenever I have meetings. So something like this is a great opportunity to really get yourself ready.
Thank you.
That's good. That's good. All right, let me transition just a little bit. I want to share my screen because I want you all to write these down based on what Barb literally just said. So get yourself ready. The call for pitch is going to open June 17th. So June 17th, through July 15th. You've got 1 month. So you got from now to June to be practicing and get yourself together and get your lighting and all that kind of stuff. We'll have information on the Catch the Wave website, which will have, you know, some tips about lighting and all that sort of stuff. But June 17th through July 15th is when we're going to open the call for pitch. We're going to do it the same way as we did last year. There'll be a link. You'll fill out your information. You'll upload your 60-second video. Our review team our review committee will review every single pitch that comes in. We're going to watch every single one of them. We've got our rubric that we're following, and then we will narrow it down from there. We will send notifications to the finalists between July 29th and August 2nd. So by August 2nd, you will get a notification one way or the other. Yes, you're pitching on the stage at Catch the Wave, or I'm sorry, but this year you're not pitching. It sounds a whole lot better than that, but you'll get your answer one way or the other. Nobody's going to be sitting there waiting with bated breath, wondering, I didn't hear anything. So by August 2nd, you will hear. So put these dates on your calendar. Catch the Wave is August 26th through the 28th. You have to be in attendance at Catch the Wave to pitch at the competition. So don't think that you can say, you know what, I'm not going to Catch the Wave at all, but I just want to go ahead and get this opportunity. I'm going to pitch. You have to be in attendance at the conference in order to be able to pitch at the competition. But the competition is going to be during breakfast on Tuesday, August 27th. Okay. So don't tell anybody. Nobody told you these dates. They're on the screen. This is being recorded, so you're going to get it in your email box as well. But I would love to see, there's 20 some folks on here. I would love to see at least 20 plus videos coming in. For those of you who don't think that you're ready, Lamonda Die. I would love to see a video from Lamonda based off of Barb's feedback of you just make yourself ready, get yourself ready, right? As we wrap up, we cannot do better if we don't hear from you. So for those who are not watching this on your phone, take out your phone, scan this QR code, and give us some feedback about how this session was. For those who may be watching on your phone, that's all right, because in that email that comes with this video presentation, there's going to be a link, and that link is going to go to this exact same survey. So if you can't do it right now, please make sure that you take a moment and provide us some feedback. This is our first year doing this Pitch Pro Talks. Lamonda, Tina, and I really like it, but we want to make sure that you all got the exact same value out of it that we got. I would love to be able to rinse and repeat, and we see our 3 winners from next year sharing, and 2 or 3 of our judges from next year sharing. I think this is a really great opportunity, like I said, to sit at the feet of those who have done this before. And then finally, I want to share just a couple of upcoming events that we have. I'm going to start with May 9th and 10th is our Woman of Color event, Bold and Brilliant. It's a 2-day event. It's going to be in Columbus, Ohio. We're going to start Thursday evening with an opening reception and sip and paint. And then Friday is going to be the core of our nuts and bolts. So we'll have some keynote speakers. We'll have a great panel discussion. If you give me a second, I will still go ahead and drop the link to that registration form in the chat. So that way you don't even have to go and look for it. But that is going to be a really great event. If you are not a woman of color, it is open to our allies, both non-woman of color as well as male. So everybody is welcome to attend. Please don't think because you're not a woman of color, you can't show up. I would love to see you in the room anyway. So let me get that link, and I am going to drop it in the chat as soon as I find my chat screen. There's the link for that one. Let's see. Our next part of our Pitch Academy is May 21st. So that is our Pitch Pro Talks from storyboard to stage. One of our, might have been Christine, I think, referenced the session that that was done last year. So this is our session where we actually have a fellow WBE coming in this year, and she's going to be able to help you really work and hone on the nuts and bolts of your presentation, from putting together your presentation, from public speaking tips, like everything that you will need to be able to put that presentation together. So May 21st is that event, and give me 1 second. I will drop that into the chat for you as well, so you don't even have to look for it. If you don't get these from the chat, you can always go to our website, and you can always go to our website. You can click on the events page on our website, and you can always find all of our events there. We do have Doing Business with Federal Home Loan Bank of Cincinnati on May 22nd. It's part of our Doing Business with our Corporate series, and that's really an opportunity for our corporate partners to come and share with the WBEs how to do business with their organization. They'll give you tips about how to navigate their portals, their websites, behind the scenes tips. We had Go Metro. What day is today's Thursday? I think it was Tuesday. All my days are running together this week. And one of the great things that they actually said was, you know what, if you want a listing of our current, not even just our current opportunities, but the things that the opportunities that we have already filled, she was willing to share that list of what was already filled so people could put it on their radar for when it's going to come available again next year or 3 years from now or whatever the case may be. So all of those Doing Business series have been amazing and have been a really great opportunity to be able to learn from our corporate partners. I just put the Pitch Pro Talks in the chat so that you have the information for that. And I already talked about Catch the Wave, and it is 2:02. I am 2 minutes over. I am so sorry. However, I want to thank each and every one of you, to my moderator, to our panelists, to our winners, to our judges, and to each and every one of you. I thank you all for showing up with us today. I thank you all for engaging in the chats, for asking questions. I really hope this has been a really valuable session for you all. So thank you so very much, and we will see you at our next session. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.